Been set free by your love. I tell you what, that William Murphy, I'm about to believe everything that God give him to do, it gets anointed. I love that song. I have been set. I can't sing. I ain't gonna do y'all like that this morning. But anyway, hello, good morning. How's everybody doing? Let me tell you something. Christian folks, you got to be mindful how you talk to people. Now, I just heard a conversation this morning, honey, and they won't know God in it, honey, from this Christian. Won't know God. I mean, oh, Lord. Y'all know I go to work at night, so I be tired when I get up. So I guess people that get up early in the morning, I guess they be aggravated too, you know? But early in the morning, honey, you got the devil on you. And I mean, there just ain't no God in some of our attitudes that we have. There just ain't no God in the way we talk to people sometimes. How you going to invite somebody to your church when you talking hateful? Good Lord, won't no Holy Ghost, no nothing. The Lord didn't tell you. Lord, maybe they'll come back and apologize to the people, honey, because won't no God in that, child. We got to be careful. We got to be careful. And we hold all these positions in the church now. But at your place of work, at other functions where people know you, honey, it's a hot mess. You a hot mess. Ain't no God in some of our attitudes. In the way we talk to people. All the stuff this world is in a mess. And all the stuff that's going on in the world, we ought to be mindful of how we talk to people. I'm very careful of how I talk to people. And I want to make sure I don't offend people and do stuff because people, you know, they ain't, you know, whatever their mind tell them to do, they do. We better be mindful, honey. But anyway, that ain't what I wanted to come on and talk about. But that's a good point to make. Be mindful of how you talk to people and treat people, especially when you say you representing Christ. Especially that. But anywho, I want to say this right here to us single ladies. And you ain't got to be a Christian woman to hear this here. But if you're a woman in my age group, I say 30 and in your 40s, you ought to be now, you know, when I was in my 20s, teens and 20s, and maybe my early 30s, I chose men based on how they looked and, you know, them based on how much money they had and, you know, things like that. But I think once we get a little bit older, honey, you ought not to be still basing your choice of men on how they look, on how they, you know, what type of job they have, what type of car they have. I think that's unwise to be choosing people these days over how they look. And what car they drive and what type of income they have. Honey, now, if you treat me well. See, I don't even have to say if you love God. Because if you love God, you're going to treat me well. If you treat me well, I can deal with you, honey. We can almost walk to the altar. If you treat me well. That's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at looks. Wait a minute now. Let me say this here. Now, if you got one head, 2 eyeballs, 2 ears, 1 nose, you know what I'm saying? 2 arms, you know, we okay. I mean, long as you got one head, I don't want to be with nobody that's got 2 heads. I don't want to, you know, hook up with no 2-headed monster. You know what I'm saying? But as long as you got 2 eyeballs, 2 ears, 1 nose, and 1 head, it'll be all right. We can work out all the rest of the stuff. But ladies, if you in your 40s, stop choosing men based on how they look, based on what type of income they have, and based on what they drive. That's for teenagers. And we direct our children not to do that. Baby, if they treat you well and they ain't got 2 heads, you ought to be able to work with it. You understand what I'm saying? That's just me. That's my philosophy. You know, that's just how I feel about it. If a man treat me well, honey, I think we'll be okay. And he ain't got 2 heads. Remember that now. That's important. I don't want to date no two-headed monster, honey. And I know he don't want no two-headed woman. You know what I'm saying? But you know, that's what we should be basing our relationships on. People that treat you well, that don't want to slam your head inside a wall. Treat you well. Treat your children well. This video might be cut off, but I'm getting ready to go in here and get me some grits from this store, honey. This store. I sure am. But anyway, that's all I want to say. Ladies, we need to, once you get in your 40s, you don't do things like you used to do. Let's get wise in some of the things we do. All right. Toodles.